So isn't it interesting, as we are now seeing pro-abortionists completely losing their minds? They don't know what to do now that they are on the other side of the Supreme Court's decision. Because for 50 years, guess what, friends? We have been the ones who have had to be creative and patient and smart about spreading the pro-life message. And nobody does that better than the Southwest Coalition for Life. So as we've seen, the radical abortionists, all they've been able to do since actually before Dobbs is to go out and bomb pregnancy centers and commit acts of vandalism and riot. So when abortions came to an end in Mississippi, it's the famous Dobbs case, of course. Well, the woman who owned that abortion facility decided she was going to open up a new business in Las Cruces, New Mexico, of all places. Well, that's where Mark Cavaliere and his team and his amazing supporters in New Mexico and Texas decided, you know what, we're going to have a little welcome party for them. And that's exactly what they did last night. Incredible turnout. Mark Cavaliere joins us now from New Mexico to talk about this. Mark, wow, it looks like you just had an overwhelming turnout of pro-life supporters last night on the very spot where they want to be performing abortions.
That's correct. Yeah. Thank you, Jim, for highlighting this. The state of New Mexico, abortion remains completely unregulated up to the moment of delivery. For any reason, even minors without parental consent. And so we have been getting overrun. It's just as bad as North Korea and China.
Yep.
And since the Dobbs decision, it seems like every few days we're learning about a new abortion business that is fleeing to New Mexico because they're going to be able to continue without any medical oversight. And so we're going from 5 or 6 abortion facilities in the state across the state of New Mexico to tripling that number, possibly quadrupling it. Anywhere from 15 is now rumors of even possibly over 20 over the years to come of abortion businesses relocating here, including, of course, this infamous, Jackson Women's Health Organization, now renamed the Las Cruces Women's Health Organization, which the name Las Cruces means the crosses, the city of the crosses. And so that's where, we've had a lot of people across New Mexico and in our city feeling a little disheartened and overwhelmed. And so we had this big event with a lot of national speakers coming in to really help people know the actions that they can take.
Yeah, and it was so good to see the rector of the cathedral there last night. I mean, you had a real all-star cast. You have my buddy Mark Lee out there, too.
Mark Lee has been amazing. He's just been working tirelessly, considering the fact that, the state of New Mexico, where abortion is unregulated by virtue of the fact that it's not banned, but nor is it protected. It's not even on the books. And so there's opportunity. I know some organizations across the state are talking to Mark Lee about sanctuary city for the unborn ordinances at the city levels. There's been a lot of people, David B. Wright, a lot of people came in for this.
Yeah. So Mark, when you were describing that, like what they have in store for New Mexico, and you said it right, they permit abortions right up until the time of birth. Nobody, no place on earth does that except for North Korea and China. So let's just get that straight. I mean, this is barbarism, and this is child murder, and it just made me think, this is really an industry. This is the abortion industry, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And what we're seeing is that, as often is the case with more scandalous type industries, they flee to where there's no regulations and no health oversight. And not only is this all, obviously an injustice against children, but it's been an egregious injustice against women who really now are being funneled into New Mexico already just in the last year since the Texas heartbeat law has been in effect. And it's expected now to even increase further. We're at a point where 3 out of every 4 abortions in New Mexico are being performed on out-of-state women who are coming in and being, now there's corporations that are sending women in for abortions so that they can continue to be more, utilized for the, more productive employees. And what we're seeing is even the leadership, the government in New Mexico is kind of promoting what's becoming a sense of abortion tourism to travel people in across the state for totally unregulated abortions.
Mark, what can be done about this? I know that Mark Lee Dixon has talked about sort of the Texas law that is on the books and trying to make this a law which would allow actually a citizen of Texas, I guess, or New Mexico even, to sue the provider.
Right. So there are conversations happening on that front, and there's multiple things that need to be happening. Similar to how the last 50 years we've had multiple, approaches to overturning Roe, from legislative to charitable to prayer and all of that. We're now needing to do that at the state and local levels. And so there's a lot of important conversations happening. One of the things too, I think that isn't getting talked about enough is the importance of litigation. We work with a great attorney, Mike Seibel, with Abortion on Trial out of Albuquerque, who helps women who have been harmed by the abortion industry in the state of New Mexico when we see consistently women being harmed because of the lack of any oversight. And those are the cases that help to expose the injustices, what I call the reproductive injustice that is happening against women in New Mexico and from across the country coming to New Mexico. So yeah, there's a lot of things. And then my organization, we're coming in to offer really a kind of a authentic definition of what women's healthcare is. They're calling themselves the Women's Health Organization, but we're just here to say, abortion is not healthcare. No woman should be in a position to feel that, being told or expected to alter, suppress, and destroy the normal healthy functions of her natural body in order to achieve her goals. And that we don't reject that. We reject that as a definition of healthcare, and we want to be right next door to offer an authentic whole person approach to care.
Yes, and tell me about the pregnancy resource centers there in Las Cruces and the work that they are doing, Mark.
We have some amazing pregnancy centers in Las Cruces. There's been 2 centers, CareNet and Turning Point in Las Cruces, who've been really holding the front line and just seeing a huge increase of women that, coming in and almost more than we can handle. And so we need more support right now. We're needing more organizations. We need to outnumber the abortion facilities, 2 to 1, 5 to 1. And that's a challenge right now because they're coming in by the droves. And so we're coming in to offer similar support in working with, other organizations in the community with Guiding Star Center, which is, it goes even beyond just that initial pregnancy intervention help, but really to say, can we do more to help women even after she chooses life, so that she's not going back out to the same secular medical system that is broken and got her into that situation in the first place. There's a healthcare system that's telling women their fertility is a disease to be suppressed, that pregnancy is like a tumor or a commodity, that childbirth is to be feared, lactation, breastfeeding a lot of times is seen as a burden and an inconvenience. So we're working right now to bring in lactation consultants and doulas and midwives and all those types of professionals that can actually walk with a woman. And, our medical director is an OBGYN to not just help her embrace life, but actually help her through that process of childbirth and motherhood.
Well, right. And Mark, these women are so spiritually broken as well, and healing needs to take place. Even when they do decide to have the baby, often by themselves with very little support, because we don't want them just having the baby and then going out and getting pregnant again with just another person.
And that's a consequence of the culture of Roe versus Wade for the last 50 years, that instead of actually trying to make a society more accommodating to women has been telling women they've been the ones for 50 years telling women what to do with their bodies, saying that, should subject yourselves to these really traumatic chemical abortion pills and these invasive surgeries in order to be successful. And as a consequence of men, being told they can basically use, abuse, and objectify women essentially for sex without consequence. And that what you just described is a consequence of the Roe versus Wade culture. So this is an opportunity, I think, for us to be there, where there's a lot of misinformation and confusion right now of the state of women's healthcare, to help define what that is in a way that actually respects women, when the other side can't even define what a woman is.
Yeah. Amen, Mark. So I was reading your bio, and I saw that you have studied deeply into the psychology of persuasion, as it pertains to being, out there, on the sidewalk, on the front lines. Tell me a little bit more about that, Mark.
So we through our Coalition for Life, we have a program called Her Care Connection. It's a very woman-oriented focus, and what we've found is rather than trying to talk someone out of a commitment that they've made, it's better to just help them create a new, better commitment. So when we have our outreach program, we have young adults as outreach interns, and they reach out in a very professional way with uniform, as saying, we're here with a nonprofit referral program to connect you with free healthcare. Not a lot of people know about, and we help them to realize that, to make a new commitment to exploring this. We don't really, we don't want to come across as a threat to the hope that she has in, abortion possibly being a solution to her crisis. Instead, we just say, here's what we have to offer, and let's get you in and talk about this and make that new commitment. And we found that, Debbie, we've had a higher number of women coming in to seek that information when we're not just out there, kind of telling them what not to do. We're instead inviting them into something new.
Yeah. Mark, how many women do you this would be hard to ever quantify, I guess, but how many women do you think are truly on the fence about having that abortion?
In our experience, most of the women going in who feel they have no choice but abortion are not pro-choice. Sometimes they've never really thought about the issue. Sometimes they're even more pro-life. They just suddenly are scared. They're in a situation where they're feeling hopeless, where everyone in their life has been telling them what they can't do, what they cannot do. You cannot be successful right now and be a mom. You cannot finish school right now and do this. Our employers now and media, they're all saying, just fly to New Mexico and have an abortion so you can, be a more productive employee for us, and trying to normalize all that. And so most women are really just feeling very overwhelmed with the pressure and are very grateful to hear it. It's a pretty small minority who have the loudest voice, usually, who are the ones kind of championing this thing as this right that they're celebrating. The reality is most women are, they're really scared, and we need to recognize that too. That usually, and even John Paul II in his letter to women recognized that usually, the one who's at fault behind an abortion is usually the man who has failed her, who has failed to step up as a consequence of this Roe versus Wade mentality. And so, we're not there to shame or judge. She's been a victim of this. And if she says no to an abortion in the face of this $1 billion abortion corporation and this Roe versus Wade mentality that's been telling her to alter and destroy part of her body, she is the hero in that story. And we're not going to take that away from her. We're just there as the sidekicks to kind of, give her some information to help her make a right decision. But that we really celebrate moms being the heroes. We're not out to count babies saved and things like that. We're here to count how many women have we been able to help.
Oh, Mark, the work you're doing is so impressive. So tell me, is there any hope for New Mexico to have a Virginia in New Mexico? We finally turned the tables on the Democrats and the radical abortion LGBT agenda in Virginia. I mean, is New Mexico just a lost cause electorally?
So I put more hope in the people of New Mexico right now. They do have a supermajority in the courts and the legislature that are, want to protect abortion as this tourist, attraction for the state of New Mexico. But the people of New Mexico are starting to stand up and say enough is enough, and we're going to come. We're going to do this, with or without the support of the state. We actually saw this in Las Cruces. The reason our organization started 7 years ago was in response to a separate abortion center that opened there, and after 2 years they closed, citing financial trouble for suddenly not getting enough patients. Again, this is in the state with no abortion restrictions that they had been celebrating, because they're just in it for the profit. They're just in it for the bottom dollar. So if we can help, most businesses operate on about a 30% overhead. So if we can help even 1 out of every 3 women who are going in feeling that they have no other option but an abortion, that could be enough to cut into the profit incentives for these abortion corporations. That's all they're in it for. We're doing this, we never financially benefit from any decision a woman makes, and so that's what we need to see more of in New Mexico.
That's right. Abortion is big business. They're not making any money with their other services that they claim to offer. I mean, that's what this is all about. And good for you, Mark. Good for you. I mean, you've got a track record. Let's just hope and pray that this child murder facility gets shut down. I mean, that's a great strategy right there, right? Is just to get these places closed down.
I'm kind of interested too the fact that there's going to be so many abortion providers flocking in New Mexico, they're to what extent are they going to be competing against each other, and kind of working against each other. So, it's an interesting thing. So yes, pray for New Mexico. I don't think it's a lost cause. There's a lot of good people here. And, while our politics are determined by Santa Fe and Albuquerque, the rest of the state is saying we recognize we need to do more at the city level, at the local level, at the, through our churches, through our people to help women. And, at our city gate, as scripture tells us, and say, we're going to not stand for this as a city, as communities. And so it's going to be very interesting, even after I point out, the Supreme Court, they've made mistakes in the past with Dred Scott. They said, quote, the Negro is not a human being. And when they corrected themselves, it took decades for the rest of the country to catch up. There were many states that continued that old antiquated mentality up until the 1960s. And even, we still feel the effects of that today. And now they've done it again. They said with Roe versus Wade, the word person does not include the unborn. They've now corrected themselves, and New Mexico is going to be one of those lingering states that is trying to live in this antiquated mentality, telling women that, that abortion is the best we have to offer. And we say that no, women deserve better.
Amen to that, Mark. Well, look, brother, thank you so much. You're off to a good start in opposing this agenda that's really just all about murder. That's what it's about. I mean, and let us know. Let us know the next time you have an event. Give me a heads up. I'll fly out there, Mark. And
well, thank you for that. We'll let you know the next time we have a big event like this.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, brother. That is Mark Cavaliere of the Southwest Coalition for Life. Go check out their website. It's really awesome. So, Mark, keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you so much, Jim.